Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Napoleon, and today we're back with another top 5, and this time we're going to be doing the top 5 worst weapons. And of course, if you haven't watched my video of the top 5 best weapons, in which I explain some of the best free-to-play weapons for Enlisted, then I highly suggest that you check that out first before we do today's, because today is slightly almost similar except for we're going to be doing the opposite. These are going to be the top 5 worst weapons for the free-to-play player. Of course, this video has been made possible for friends at Discord, meaning if you haven't liked, subscribed, or joined Discord, highly suggest that you do. And without further ado, let's get started. The first weapon we have up is the Beretta Mod 30. Now, the reason why this thing is absolutely terrible for a machine gun, which it is the worst machine gun I've ever seen in my life, is the fact that this machine gun is very bad. Number one, the dispersion is pretty bad. The thing is extremely heavy, so you're running around very slowly. And unlike the BAR, which also has 20 rounds, this 20 rounds are literally terrible. The dispersion is bad, the sights are bad, and if you ask me, this thing is chunky, heavy, and pretty much useless if you ask me. I would actually get more kills if I was using the M1 Beretta or other weapons. Not to say that the Beretta M1 is in the same category as the Beretta Mod 30, but it is a massive difference. Basically, a machine gun like this should give you kills. This thing does the opposite. It prevents you from getting kills, because not only does it have a 20 mag limit, it also is heavy, and by the time you get to the battlefield, the dispersion is going to knock everything off. Not to mention the fact that it also has a pretty slow rate of fire, which means that you're not really going to be using it. Unlike the ZB-26, this thing is literally pretty much useless, and it's heavy, so throw it out. The only good thing about this thing is that at least it's not historically accurate, which it is historically accurate, then this thing is beyond terrible. That said, let's move on to the number 4 spot, which is the M1 Carbine. Obviously, this was not my first pick. My first pick was the VG-15 or VG-15, but the M1 Carbine was on my list. And the reason why the M1 Carbine was on the list is the fact that it has 15 round magazine, and the fact that this thing is, although not the worst, it is not very good for a battle rifle. For one, the M1 Carbine in real life can actually kill you. Because of the small caliber, that means historically you also have had a pretty high chance of surviving. But the M1 Carbine is a very good gun. Well, on this list that is. Considering the fact that this is on this list is already quite bad. The M1 Carbine has 15 rounds. All of its rounds, it's basically a pea shooter within 15 rounds. You might as well, in many regards, just use a bolt action rifle because you're actually going to get one-shot kill anyone. If you use an M1 Carbine instead, you literally have running the risk of someone just killing you literally with it really quick. And when I mean killing you, I literally mean that literally, considering the fact that the M1 Carbine, people can just kill you with one shot. And you can't really kill them with one shot unless you're maybe aiming for the head. But that's the M1 Carbine. Very good dispersion, very good recoil, but the fact that it has only very little damage for one shot doesn't make up for the fact that it has 15 rounds. But that's it, that's the M1 Carbine for you. In my opinion, not the worst weapon, but it is definitely not anywhere good. And considering the fact that it's on this list, you guys already know what my opinion of this weapon is. That said, let's move on to the third spot, which is the Luftwaffe drilling rifle and the TAS-B. Obviously, these two are pretty much similar. I honestly don't even know which is which is better, which is worse. I personally feel like they're almost the same thing, so if you don't ask me which was better or which is worse. These two are on the list because besides the fact that you can one-shot someone at close quarters combat, you really can't do much. And when I mean you can't do much, I mean like if a horde of people come running at you, there's nothing much you can do. Same thing for the TAS-Bs because there's massive shotguns. And unlike regular shotguns, these pellets, the rounds, or the small rounds, that come towards you are not really going to do much either because Enlisted has a wonky hit system. And sorry, Luftwaffe drilling rifle is not going to kill you. So that's that. And we're finally moving up to the second spot, second worst rifle. Or should I say weapon. And that is going to be the MP3008. And the reason why this thing is quite bad is because of a lot of reasons. Number one is the recoil. As a starting person in the game, you do not want to be using this thing. The recoil is quite bad for a starting weapon, which is saying a lot. And the fact that it has 32 rounds is probably the only saving grace from making this number one. And the reason is because this is a copy of the Sten, which has notoriously bad recoil and dispersion, and it shakes a lot. What makes up for the Sten was that the Sten actually has a decent rate of fire, and unlike the MP3008, that is not the case. So basically the MP3008 is a Sten without the characteristics of a Sten, of its fast fire rate, and has the terrible dispersion of the Sten, which makes this thing literally unbearable. But sadly, if you thought there was a worse weapon on this list, then you will be sadly even wrong, because the top one is literally quite bad. It has 20 rounds, it has probably worse rate of fire than the MP3008, with the upside of literally have some, and I say some, recoil reduction, and slightly better sights if you ask me. But that is the MP28. What makes this thing extremely terrible is the fact that it's a starting level 1 weapon, and the fact that this thing literally has 20 rounds, which is worse than the M3008, because at least with the 3008, you can just charge into people and just murder them with firing enough rounds at them. This time, not only do you have very slow fire rate, you have not enough rounds, and the fact that you don't even not have enough rounds, this thing is already quite bad on many different levels. 20 rounds is definitely not enough to kill a person, except for if you're hitting it for the head, and by the time you fire the first shot, the person is either going to kill you or he's going to run away, which is very easy to survive. In my entire career of Enlisted, I have not killed a lot of people with the MP28 because I mostly use rifles instead of the MP28, and you might be asking how many times have I gotten killed by the MP28? Well, it's mostly by AIs who literally have laser aim, so that's that. MP3008, I never even used that, so I basically skipped these two weapons. But if you ask me, the MP28 is the worst weapon you can get. Don't get this, don't buy this, and if you have a chance, move away from this weapon ASAP. But that said, that's all it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord. Comment in the comment section down below of what weapon do you think is the worst, and I'll see you in the next one.